Hello and welcome to Queendom TV. Today I'm going to be talking about the true power of a fandom. And in this video, guys, I'm going to be giving you some tips as a fan, of somebody, because I know you guys really care about the people you support. In this video, we're particularly talking about Jesy Nelson, and I'm particularly directing this to her fans, the baddies, because I felt like this was the best place to put this video, given the fact that you guys have made so much of an effort to show support towards her and she needs that support. So I thought, why not, from all the different things I've been looking at and everything, make a video talking about the true power of fandom, a fandom, for you guys to understand how much power you actually have, but also let's throw out some tips of things that we can do, because I know you guys just want to see more justice in this area. So I figured let's throw some things forward in support. So let's get into this, guys. The reason why I'm talking about the true power of a fandom, I've been talking recently in my videos about how, the entertainment industry kind of makes it seem, well, I've been talking a lot about the entertainment industry, and how dark it can be and manipulative and controlling over the people that we support, right? And I've been talking about how we don't always, what we think might be coming from the people we support might not be. Now, this is where we come into it. This is where the fans come into it. Where the fans come into all of this is ultimately when you hear big statements like so-and-so and so-and-so sold 60 million records this year, right? That means that people, fans, went out and bought those records, right? And so truthfully, when you see a video on YouTube and you see so-and-so's music videos got 100 million views. Who are those 100 million views? Fans, right? So when they say that they've sold out their merch, who's buying the merch? Fans. You guys get the gist, right? Tour, who's paying tickets for tours? Fans. So that in and of itself should already convince you guys that the fans are always the ones who have the power in the situation. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem or feel like that all of the time, because you're so far away. Maybe you might feel so far away from the person that you support. I know in terms of the baddies, a few of you guys have heard from her, or she's spoken to you, or I know some of you guys have heard from like people you support on social media. Maybe they like your posts, maybe they've liked your comments, stuff like that, or responded to them. So even still, sometimes they can feel a little bit distant, like a little bit far away from us, like if you're not in with their inner circle, their inner crowd. And I think that can sometimes almost create more of a gap than really exists there, because the reality is, for somebody to be well-known, famous today, it takes people paying attention. It takes people paying attention and supporting. That if right now you watching my video, right, if there's only 200 people, 300 people watching my video, you might be like, okay, if tomorrow there was like 300,000 people watching my video, or if the day after there was 3 million people watching my video, then you might be like, oh, I see her as famous now. Why? Because there are a whole bunch of fans, people supporting, right, what I'm doing. People have logged on to the video, and it gives a sense of influence, because people think, well, if there's 3 million people watching what this person has to say or supporting what this person is doing, that means that that person must have something of value to offer, right? And so on and so forth. And that's kind of where we get now. And then a lot of attention gets drawn over to them. So that's really how you, the fans, have the power, in the most simplest of senses. And I think the thing that happens is, right, and this is where we've got to be, we've got to learn about the industry, y'all. And this is where we've really got to understand what's going on here, right? The people in the industry who take advantage of the people that we support, and I've talked about them being taken advantage of in previous videos, in previous of my Jesy videos as well, but also my other videos. And I've said, how a lot of them are just looking at this as business, right? They're just trying to sell a product pretty much. And the reason why I talk about this stuff, because it helps us as fans to utilize the power that we have in a good way, right? One thing that I know is great is if you see like somebody that you support doing something for themselves, and you support that a lot, that helps them to be able to do the thing that they want to do more. Because what happens is, once a company sells you a brand, so if you have a group like if you have a group like Little Mix, right, ultimately they're selling you a brand, right? They're selling you this group of girls who makes a certain kind of music that's got a certain kind of sound, and they have their Little Mix sound, don't they, like of like all their music, and they're trying to sell to you that thing. Now, I'm not saying that it doesn't have anything to do with the girls. It's not about that, because I know the girls have been involved in writing songs and stuff, so it's not, let's not say that they're just here full-blown puppets. But what I'm saying is, you know, how we respond to those types of things that makes a difference. So for what we might not realize is if they're, let's say they've written an album, right, and in the album let's say different people have written different songs, right? If the public, the fans, really support certain songs, and those certain songs happen to be written by certain people, those certain people might be given more songs to write in the future. I.e., if you know that somebody you support wrote a particular song as part of a group, or even themselves, like let's say they've got their album and you can see this is the song they wrote, this is the song that they co-wrote with so-and-so, this is a song somebody else wrote. If you're supporting their stuff more, then you're supporting what they're doing, you know, and you're giving them, you're kind of giving more power to them, because they can say, well, look, the fans went crazy over this song that I wrote, right? And you find sometimes that well-known people are really appreciative when fans really show up and support the stuff that they individually wrote themselves, because they're like, oh my gosh, the people love my song. And because of that, maybe their label allows them to write more of their songs. Because one thing that's not spoken about enough is how much, you know, like labels and management and agents and stuff like that tell artists or pop stars, you know, that they can't push forward this music because they're not allowed, because they don't think it's going to be successful, they don't think it's going to sell well, or whatever story that it is that they're telling, right? And so when they do well, it gives them a way to flip back and be like, well, look, I did write this song, and look, the fans loved it, this was my most popular song on my album, you know, that I wrote, kind of thing. And so I think it's important for us to educate ourselves, as much as being a fan of somebody and supporting anything and everything they do. It's also worth paying attention to some of the smaller details, which you guys have even mentioned. I saw one of you guys, there was a dispute taking place on Twitter, and somebody tried to say that Jesy hadn't really involved herself on some of the ad-libs or whatever. And one of you guys clapped back and was like, well, actually, she was the one who wrote this, had the most, I think you said the most co-writing credits on their most popular album, etc., etc. And you came in with all the facts, right? And it's even stuff like that even to me was making me think, oh, I wonder if this is why Jesy leaving has had such a big impact, because people really seem to like what Jesy was bringing, the type of music she was writing, etc., etc. Do you see what I mean? So it's kind of like one of those things where when we pay attention to those little finer details, which a lot of you guys do, and we're very supportive of those types of things, it has an impact, because people are like, everybody's listening to this, everybody loves this song, you know. And that's why I really believe the power is always with the fandom. In the same way that if something happened, you know, that you guys weren't happy about, and all of a sudden everybody did one certain thing. So for example, if all of a sudden everybody didn't show up to a particular tour for a particular reason, that's going to have a massive impact, because they're going to be like, oh, we need the fans, because they need the fans to pay the money. Otherwise, they're not going to pay people. They're not going to pay you. They're going to do it they're going to pay certain people, obviously, to get more exposure, but they're not going to pay all the fans to show up, because they're not making money. The whole point of them putting the music out is the idea is the music is going to bring back in an income, you know, that's going to help in terms of the artist to pay them back for the work that they do, to fund whatever else they want to do, like other projects. But in terms of from the business perspective, they need to make money, you know. So even things like going to concerts, buying merch, all this stuff is a way of you giving power to the people. It's a way of you utilizing your power and making a statement and saying something, you know. When people see that all of a sudden they sold out overnight, you know, like this happens where people will sell out all over, like in minutes. They'll put out tickets and they'll sell in minutes. When that happens, it shows a level of like, oh my gosh, this person is highly celebrated. This is somebody who we deem as successful, because the fans have gone out of their way to all try and get tickets the minute those tickets came out, versus maybe somebody else where the tickets got sold over the space of a couple of months, you know, and then maybe they never sold out all the tickets. So that is how you guys do have the power, and you have a lot more power than you realize. Even you guys creating all these fan pages and A lot of you do lots of different things like making edits, making videos, making posts. This is all a form of you wielding, like a sword, wielding the power that you actually have as a fan. And I think you have to be aware of that, because it's something that you can use. And a lot of the time, fans feel very insignificant, like I'm just one person, you know. But if all of the people who are a fan of somebody use that to the advantage of themselves, but also the artist, then that could actually have a pretty massive effect. That's why, you know, when scandals happen, right, a lot of people get away, and I talk about this on my channel a lot, how a lot of people get away with scandals and certain things because once those things happen, the fans, they stay and they maintain. So for example, with the whole thing with Travis Scott, you know, unfortunately so many people died, but here's the crazy part. With Travis Scott, he gained followers and he sold more records from the same album that caused for some people to die, you know, in the whole Astroworld festival. So again, why is he continuing? Why is nothing really that drastic being done for about his actions? Because the fans have the power. And the fact that more people were supporting him, more people were buying his stuff, that is what's keeping him where he's at. I talked about this on YouTube. I talked about how many YouTubers have been exposed, you know, and people have been exposed for things that they've done. They maintain their platforms. Why do they maintain their platforms? The fans stay. Because if all the fans disappeared, right? If Travis Scott had all his sales plummeting and everybody unfollowed him, if everybody had unfollowed him, right, after that incident, then we might see a real change. We might have seen some real justice, but we didn't. Why? Because the power was with the fans. And that's what happens a lot of the time when we are upset about things that go down in the world, that go down in the industry will flip it back and say, well, the fans could have stopped this. The fans could have not bought tickets. The fans could have unfollowed, etc., etc. Right? So just know that, like, in the same way that you have voting power in the world, that you can go and vote in your elections and you can vote for whoever you want to vote for, it works the same online. Who you choose to follow and subscribe to, you should subscribe to me if you don't mind, who you choose to support, what you choose to listen to. Like, I make a point that if there's somebody that I'm not a fan of, right, or I don't support, as in, let's not even say I'm not a fan of, because not a fan of is different from not supporting, right? If there's somebody I don't support, like I don't want to support what they're doing, I might disagree with what they're doing, I make sure not to watch their stuff. I make sure not, ideally, to follow them and not to be, you know, giving attention to their stuff, because all that attention, it just adds up and it gives them more power, because then they can say, oh, look, I've got this many consistent listeners. I've got this many people always watching my videos, always listening to my music, etc., etc. So that's why the power really is with you guys. And I think especially with all this stuff with Jesy and stuff, it's important for us to recognize that the reason why she can continue is because of how much you guys have utilized the power as her fans to continue, right? Which is a great thing, you know, and I think you guys should continue. And so I'm going to talk about now ways that you can continue, like, to support, as use your fandom power, and continue supporting who you want to support. Now, a lot of the things you guys are doing already is amazing. Having fan pages where she's being spoken about, where she's being talked about, you know, is really helpful, you know, and is really helping keeping her name out there. You know, when her music comes out, of course, you guys are supporting it and buying her stuff and supporting her stuff. But also, there's other things that you could do that maybe you might not think were a massive impact, but like, you can use me as an example. Maybe some of you should start a YouTube channel if you feel comfortable. And it doesn't have to be a YouTube channel where you're like doing what I'm doing and going against what other people are saying, but it could just be you just talking about things that you like about Jesy. You could do a whole YouTube channel based on, you know, doing reaction videos, and every video you do a reaction to all the different music videos or different compilations of her. All this different stuff is going to help get, you know, exposure. Some of you make these compilations. Look at the different things that you guys are using. Of course, get each other's like permission first, you know, before you do anything. But, you know, if you get permission if you see somebody's made a really cool compilation of something, or you've seen, like, you know, the lyric videos, make a reaction video to it and then share that, you know, because all these things are throwing her name and what she's doing all into the algorithm, and it's giving power into all those types of things. Alternatively, it's also good not to pay attention to certain other things, because if you are paying attention to certain other things, when I'm saying certain other things, if people are being hateful, don't pay as much attention to that, because unfortunately, guys, the algorithms, and everyone's hearing about algorithms these days, but a lot of the algorithms are not necessarily biased, right, in a certain sense. So what I mean by that is, if somebody's posting hate, let's say about Jesy, and everybody's drawing attention to that person, you drawing attention to that person and giving that person views is going to help that view, whatever that thing is, whether it's a video, whether it's pictures, it's going to help that to get more exposure, because then the algorithm might say, oh, everybody's interested in this, I'm going to push this higher so more people are seeing it, which is what I'm saying. In the alternative and the better result would be, I'm going to push, somebody did a compilation, which, like I said, you guys do that already, but also what was the thing I was about to say? I just forgot the thing I was about to say. Why does this happen? You know? Oh, excuse me. But also, I remember, when you are seeing certain things online, block people, block people, don't engage. Like, I've been thinking so much about this toxic mixer stuff and all this hate online. And the more that I see it, the more I realize, you know what? It's really not worth engaging with. It's really not. Because like I said, you're bringing more attention, number one. Number two, that person, a lot of them aren't really trying to be cooperative. They're just trying to bother you. It's kind of like bullying, right? You know, like how they say with bullying, how bullying won't get to you if you don't react, because a lot of bullies are just looking to see a reaction, and if they get a reaction, then they continue bullying. If they don't get a reaction, they might try somebody else who's going to react. I kind of see it that way as well. Don't react to this type of stuff. Some of those things, just ignore them. Like, it doesn't matter. Somebody said something, it's not true. And especially now, I think Jesy knows a lot of things aren't true. So I really feel like, for so many of you who've gone out of your way to be defending her and defending yourselves and one another, you've really put yourself through a lot already. And I know there's a lot of attacks that come towards you, but I think it's totally fine for you to just focus on the positive and push the positive and bring attraction to the positive, and see what's going on, and just say, look, this is what we're doing. Think of ways to expand what you're doing. Don't hold yourself back. If there's something you feel like doing, I think it's amazing in this world that people dedicate themselves to particular things just because that's something that they care about. I think it's really cool how, like I said, with some of you fan pages, that you decided to dedicate a whole Instagram page, and it might even be your main Instagram page or even your only Instagram page, to being a fan of Jesy. That's amazing. And continue to do that and continue to push that. And continue to spread the vibes that you guys want to spread as well. And that's why I really believe the power is with the fans. But on the alternative, you've got to be prepared to not give your power where you don't want your power to be utilized. And that's why I'm saying, don't necessarily engage with haters, anymore. Or don't be following people. Like, I know there's a temptation, and this happens with me, like, where there's some people that you might want to follow or subscribe to, and it's because you want to observe what's happening for whatever purpose. For me, some of the time I do that for research, like if I want to make sure I'm keeping more than one side of the coin or whatever, one side of the theory or one side of the story, I might follow or subscribe to somebody that I'm not particularly a fan of, right? Just to observe what's going on. But you don't necessarily do that, don't follow people who you don't want to support, because whatever you do, this is what's funny, like, and I said this in one of my other videos, whatever you do, it's going to help them. It's going to help them get attraction. It's going to help more people see their videos. And that's what you don't want, especially with the people that are being hateful online. That's what you don't want. Block people, report them. You know what I mean? This is what social media apparently was supposed to be able to do nowadays. So utilize those kind of tactics. Don't feel like you have to jump in with your mouth defending somebody, because sometimes it's necessary. Sometimes it just actually helps them more than it helps the situation you're in. Because what would help the situation you're in is taking all that time that you could be doing that, to do something else, to spread good news about something else, to connect with more of the good Jesy fan pages, and to be co-sharing stuff that they're doing, to be developing your own skills. I was talking to one of you who was saying that you really like editing, and I was saying how amazing you are editing. Like, get into editing, girl. Like, do your thing. Like, you know what I mean? Don't feel like you have to, you can always expand what you're doing, because a little impact can go a long way. And I think that's one lesson that you guys have taught me. You guys have taught me this lesson from just having this page, is that, like, just doing something with the little you have can go a really long way, And I feel like that's kind of what happened with this channel, you know, with you guys. Some of you guys found some videos. I don't even know how many views I'd had. Some of you shared them. Look where we are now. More people are hearing about stuff. I'm learning about stuff. We're expanding, and that's just my little impact. We've all got our impacts that we can have, you know, and I think we should use that power. As small or as big as you might think it might be, don't fall for the lie that you're powerless in all of this. You're absolutely not. I'm a firm believer that the power is with the people. The power is always with the people, guys. I'm telling you this. Like, that's why, think about it like this, guys. I remember when we were in school, when I was in school, right, there was this thing that we used to do, like some of the people that I knew, right? And I'm not going to get into too many details, but sometimes I would do this even with my whole form group. So like my whole form group, sometimes we used to all collectively do something as a whole form group, right? And something that we shouldn't do, right? So it could be like making noise, it could be like doing whatever. I'm not going to get into the specifics in this video, right? But what we used to do is we do something and we do it as a whole group, the whole classroom, everyone. You know why that would work? They couldn't put us all in trouble at the same time. They couldn't get annoyed at us all at the same time. They couldn't put us all in like, they didn't even bother to put us all in detention at the same time because they couldn't pinpoint one person. And you know, all these little things, whenever we used to do stuff as a form group, you'd get away with it. And you know why? The power is with the people. The power is with the people. And so don't let anybody mistake you or trick you that, you know, you are powerless. You're absolutely not powerless. You actually have a lot more power than you think. And if you ask me on a spiritual level, there are powers that don't want you to understand the power that you have, because as soon as you realize the power you have, you'll actually use it. And that's what I'm saying to you. Use that power that you have. Don't let people psych you out. Don't let people tell you things that are that make you think that your opinion doesn't matter or that their hate is more important. No. If you have a fan page, it's your fan page. If you have an Instagram page, it's your Instagram page. If you have a YouTube channel, it's your YouTube channel. If you have a TikTok account, it's your TikTok account. Okay? You get to block who's on there. You get to say what you want to say. If you've got money, it's your money to spend. Right? If you want to listen to music, it's your choice whose music you want to listen to. So use it wisely. But that's what I wanted to say in this video. I just kind of wanted to add this little like fandom video in the midst of all these Jesy videos, just to say that, you know, you guys really are so much more powerful than you probably realize. And I want you guys to know that that's something you can use and you should use to your advantage, you know, and also to the advantage of Jesy, because in discussing all this stuff about Jesy and the injustice, if not for you guys using the power you have of your stories and everything informing me, I wouldn't even know a lot of the stuff that I know now, you know, to even share it, you know. So even though you guys thank me all the time, I'm like, no, thank you, because where would I be if you guys weren't telling me? It probably would have taken me, I don't know how long, to get all this information together that you guys have sent me, you know. So it is a team effort. And that's the other thing about fans. When we work together, when we work as a team, as a crowd, and we're all doing something, the more of us that are doing something together, the more powerful that we are as well. So I love that we're all, you know, connecting with each other and everything. And you guys have all been connecting with each other, and there's many group chats and stuff. That's amazing, guys. That's the way to go forward. I know there's so much upset. I know there's so many hardships and difficulties around all this stuff. There's so much hate going around, and it can take a real toll on your mental health. But just know, guys, you have a power as well. You have a power. Your vote, you as a person can always add. Sometimes the difference between a decision is one person, you know, it's one person, you know. So don't forget that the power is always with the people, and you have power. All right. Other than that, guys, I just wanted to make this one just to add a little bit of encouragement to you guys all, with regards to all this Jesy stuff. You know, we're getting very down and, you know, deep, and some of it's very dark, but there is hope, guys, because the power is always with the people. Anyways, God bless you all, and I'll see you in my next one. Goodbye.